This year, Yuji Horii classic 1983 text-adventure game, The Portopia Serial Murder Case, turns 40 years old. It can't be understated that this game is a landmark title in the Japanese gaming industry by not only defining the visual novel genre, but also being a key influence to other classic games like Metal Gear, Ocarina of Time, Dragon Quest, and much more. While I personally didn't really enjoy my time with the Famicom version years ago, I think I may have been a bit too harsh on it. I recently replayed the game on the same system, and I believe I appreciate this game a whole lot more now than I did many years ago. Anyways, just about a week ago before this video is recording, Square Enix has released a brand new version of Portopia. Released on April 23rd, 2023, Square Enix AI Tech Preview, the Portopia Serial Murder Case, released on Steam. Japanese, of course, and English options were available. When I originally saw this, I thought it was a cool concept. Modern remake of a classic adventure game with the additions of the new strides in AI technology? Sounds pretty cool to me. After all, Square Enix is really getting into those neat new technologies like NFTs and now AI. I'm sure those projects are going swell. Well, if you look to those Steam reviews, you'll find that only 14% of those people who reviewed it gave it a negative score. Probably the worst it was at was about 8% when the game was about a day or so old. And after looking more into everything, it makes a whole lot of sense why this one wasn't received very well. First of all, the game is 15 gigabytes, which is hilarious. To put it into perspective, the Famicom version was only 40 kilobytes. Makes sense though, these AI chatbots do take up quite a bit of storage. And thankfully, the game is free, so no one got scammed out of anything but their time and hard drive space. One of the first things about Portopia AI is on the Steam page, which we'll read. At the time of the game's original release, most adventure games were played using a command input system, where the player was asked to type in text to decide the actions of their character. Free text input systems like these allowed players to feel a great deal of freedom. However, they did come with one common source of frustration. Players knowing what action they wanted to perform, but being unable to do so because they could not find the right wording. This problem was caused by the limitations of PC performance and NLP technology of the time. Then it starts going into crap like natural language processing, natural language understanding, speech to text, and natural language generation, but you can just throw all of that out the window because none of that really means jack in the grand scheme of this port. After installing the game, you can see that all of the graphics were redone with what seems to be real-life photographs, a far cry from the basic graphics of the originals. Characters' designs were also redone in anime style, and you begin the game and, well, there's already a few issues. There's no music. Yeah, the title screen did have some music, but I think that's just about it. You'll be playing the game with only the sound effects in certain areas and the noise of the text scrolling. Doesn't this sound fun? And this is a remake of the computer versions of the original that released in 1983, not the Famicom version. The Famicom remake simplified the gameplay by using a menu that you get commands from. It also added that 3D maze section. So in this new port, we'll all have to be going back to blindly typing out commands in a verb-noun parser like maniacs. No wonder everyone just swapped to using the menu system for all the rest of time, like in almost every single visual novel since then. But that doesn't really matter. The verb-noun parser was probably going to work much better for the AI technology. Speaking of, since that is the main event of the show here, does it work well? Fuck no. In fact, it's bugged. Seemingly at random, I got soft luck when I first played this and all the AI spit out back to me was the same 3 sentences that basically all mean, sorry bub, try again and write something that my small-ass brain can understand. And I wasn't really the only person with this problem. It's a real bug that you have to go into the files to fix. Anyway, since Square Enix decided to put an AI into this game to apparently make it work better, you'd think that it would be much easier to figure out what to do, and you'd also get some more options to play around with. Nope. This is more or less strictly the same game. Very stiff and strict command options are only allowed. If you attempt to do something else, the game will just spit out, or I'm not sure what to say about that, or maybe we should focus at the task at hand. I try to ask what the day is in the game, which is on the screen of the game for whatever reason, and the fucking computer doesn't know it. You literally had to do the same old verb-noun phrasing, or else you'll just get nowhere most of the time. Why was the AI even implemented into this game? Well, I don't know, but it clearly does not work. Even though the Steam page literally says it was to make the game easier to understand, I still had to use the guide because guess what? It's still Portopia. The idea of using AI technology to fix the game is near pointless because making the solution to making the game easier to understand was invented 38 years ago on the Famicom. And quite possibly the worst offense of this game is that the chances of this being the only official English release of Portopia is probably 100%. There will probably never be an official release similar to the Famicom version, which is still the definitive version, bar none. Thank you, Square Enix, to the amazing anniversary to this classic. I hope for your downfall, fucking bastards.